Hey everyone, I'm going to demonstrate a really fun technique that you can use on your small home decor items today, so stay tuned. Today I'm going to show you how to create these marbled flower pots. They are really fun to do and quite messy, but the results are really fun. To start, what you want to do is take one of these really cheap terracotta pots and you want to paint a base coat, a light base coat on it. This was painted in our vanilla frosting, and you want to leave that to dry for about 1 to 2 hours. So you paint the outside and you can paint the inside completely or just a little bit over the edge, just so that you don't see the pot when you put a plant in it and it doesn't cover all the way. You want to make sure you paint a little bit inside the rim here as well. Okay, so you want to let that dry for about 1 to 2 hours before you do the next step. Okay, so let me put these aside. So what we're going to do is mix 1 part water to 2 parts Simplicity and 2 parts Clear Glaze. So let's do that in this cup. I'll start with the water. Okay, and then we're gonna add some Simplicity. Ooh. As well as some Clear Glaze. Okay, so we're going to mix that really well. Okay, you just want to make sure it's really well mixed. So you might have to stir for about a minute or so. Okay, I think that looks good. Now I'm just gonna put that aside. I'm gonna take 2 more cups. And for this video, we're going to use Rustic Charm and Tropical Cocktail. And I'm going to pour about 1/4 cup into these cups. Okay, so I'm just gonna thin that slightly with about a tablespoon of water. And again, you just want to mix that really well. Okay, so next step is pouring our white base into this oven tray. Now we're going to add these accent colors and we're just gonna drizzle it all through. And after we've done that, you can take a skewer and just add some interest in the design by dragging it through. I think that looks good. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put on some gloves because this is where it gets really messy. You don't wanna have your hands completely covered in paint. I'm going to take my pre-painted terracotta pot and I'm going to roll it through here. Okay, so there's not a wrong way of doing this. And when you missed a spot, you can just kind of roll it back through or dip it. And let's see, I think I've covered it all. And I'm just going to put it on top of this wood block so that it can drip down. And with this kind of project, you cannot have an idea in mind of what it's going to look like, because it will always look different than what you had anticipated. But that's the beauty of it. It's imperfect, but it's really fun. Okay, so we're going to let that one drip. I also want to show you on this terracotta pot what happens when you don't have it pre-painted. So again, we're going to roll it through. And it doesn't, see, it's easier to see the spots you've missed. And be careful because it gets really slippery. I think I've covered pretty much the whole thing. I just want to do the bottom. Okay, so we're going to let that drip down as well. Perfect. All right. Well, and you can go ahead and dip some other things into your mixture while you have it. You can dip down canvases in it as well, which is really fun. And after it's all dried, you want to wait about 4 days before you then finish the project. And that I want to show you next. What I would recommend is after your pots have fully dried is to seal them with Tough Coat, because you don't want to water your plants that are inside of it, and then the moisture coming through, it might start bubbling the paint. So if you seal it with Tough Coat, that will not happen. Okay, so you want to grab a brush or a sponge, and you want to make sure you stir your Tough Coat ahead of time, and then you can just paint it on the outside and the inside. And I would say do 2 coats for best protection. But you do want to make sure that before you apply Tough Coat that your paint has fully dried. And I would recommend waiting at least 4 days, because the paint is quite thick and you just want to make sure that it's fully dried before you Tough Coat it. And instead of Tough Coat, you can also use our Clear Coat. You just need a few more coats. You need about 3 to 4 coats of Clear Coat. Okay, so let's do the inside as well. You want to just make sure you cover all of it. There. Thank you so much for watching. If you ever have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're always happy to help with your projects. Happy painting!